Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Another episode of Nail School. Today I'm going to be focusing my attention on sculpting hard gel. All right, let's get right into this. All right, so I went ahead and removed shine from the surface of the nail. I went ahead and removed shine with my electric file, cleansed it with swipe. So the only thing I need to add to the surface is a little bit of protein bond, right? All right, boom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply one coat from cuticle to free edge. I'm gonna do that on all 10 nails, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna apply another coat. Okay, so for those of you guys that are interested in learning how to do hard gels, the first thing we have to do is we have to be able to build a foundation layer, right? So I'm gonna use base gel. Now, you could be using the base, you could be using the concealer pink base, or you could be using the concealer the peach base, right? All three work extremely well. If I'm using the clear, the technique that I really want you to be focusing on is once you pick this up, right, you're gonna see that little tail. I'm gonna take that tail off. You're gonna notice that I have gel on one side of my brush. If I set this down and I push this to the back, to kind of create that little bit of a ledge. You see how it kind of splits like a tooth? I can get behind that, and what I can do is I could slide that as close to the cuticle area as I possibly can and down the sidewall. I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm gonna get behind that bead. I'm gonna push behind it towards the cuticle, creating that little bit of a pillow. And what that's going to do is create a nice pillow around the perimeter of the nail, right? You can see how even this is around the whole entire side. That is really important once we have that established. And again, when you're working your nails, make sure to start from the pinky and work to the thumb. I'm gonna go inside the light, and we're gonna cure that again for a minimum of 30 seconds. So I'm just gonna blast that in. I don't need to freeze, I don't need to keep it outside. I'm just gonna go directly inside the light, and we're gonna let that sit for a minimum of 30 seconds. At the same time, work on the other hand, right? So you're working on the other hand while this hand is curing inside the light. All right, so now what we're going to set ourselves up for is sculpting. Okay, so for all of you guys that are learning how to sculpt, what we want to be able to do is I need to get a nice form. Let me go ahead and remove this. And I need to get basically this tab underneath. I'm going to pre-pinch the bottom, right? I'm going to open this up. And then what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to get this. And, for all of you guys starting that are struggling with forms, the key is trying to get it flush underneath this part right here. So if I was to take this by the handle and just get it right underneath, as you can see how it touches just right underneath. And again, it's about getting it flush here to the front. Don't worry about the corners, right? So if I could get it tight to the front end of the nail, then I can build an extension that's going to be absolutely flush. I'm gonna be working with some of the tube gels, right? Let me go ahead and take this off. Make sure that my form is on straight. So for those of you guys that took advantage and got yourself a practice hand this weekend, that's awesome. Work one finger at a time, okay? That way you can continue to work. So what I want you to do is go ahead and squeeze a nice healthy amount and attach it to the end. Right? And then what I'm going to do, once I have it connected, then I can continue to squeeze out, right, until I have the desired length. Boom. So once I actually get it out to this point right here, I have desired shape and length. I could always take my brush and work it again as tight as I can to the sides to make my side walls. You can see I could just get them nice and even, right? And I can just kind of refine my shape as tight as I possibly can, right, without basically removing anything. Okay, and what we're trying to do is get it as flush to the nail as we possibly can. At this point, I'm gonna go inside the light. I'm gonna hold this so that it doesn't move, and I'm gonna get inside the light. I wanna freeze it inside the light, again, for a minimum of 30 seconds while you're working on the other hand. Now, once you set the free edge, you are now ready to build the rest of the body. okay? So you're gonna notice, again, after 30 seconds, for those of you guys that have a magic wand, right, you're gonna notice that you have the blade on the opposite side. You go ahead and turn this off. Check this out. All right, so what I'm gonna be able to do now is I'm gonna be able to take this, I'm gonna slide it from underneath. See that? I'm gonna slide it from underneath, and my extension is going to be perfectly built out tight to the natural nail. Now, what we wanna be able to do is we need to be able to build perimeter. It's really important to understand that when you're working, like, I'll just kind of draw this out to the side, but if this is my nail, right, that I have here, and this is my free edge built out, the whole purpose, so what you want to be able to do is you need to try to build, obviously, body. So the purpose of the first bead is to try to get this area. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to kind of highlight it. All right, I'm just going to kind of draw out a circle right here, but what I'm going to try to do is fill in as much area around the perimeter of the nail as I possibly can. All right, so in order for me to accomplish that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze a nice healthy amount around the perimeter, boom, right? And then I'm going to work it nice and easy all the way around. And then I'm going to, again, once I have that squeezed out, I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to squeeze down the sides and then release pressure and then use my brush, the tube, right, to squeeze more on the side to get a buildup around the perimeter. Keep contact. I don't care if it's flat. What I'm really focusing on is really the perimeter. And then right when I get past the stress area, I could start to begin to squeeze out a nice healthy amount to kind of fill in all the space in the middle. But my nozzle is being attached to the perimeter of the nail. Really important, okay? So that buildup, again, you can see from the side it's going to be flat. But what you will notice, if I'm looking at it from the side, is that my gel, as you can see, right, I have great buildup around the back end. I have great buildup along the sides. I have it shallow in the center. I have great buildup around the sides, around the perimeter of the nail, all the way down. Okay, now, since I have an excessive amount and I'm using the gels in the tube, what I'm going to do, and I'll show you real fast, on the back of the lamp, right, there is right here the low heat mode. I'll go ahead and hit the low heat mode, and then what I could do, especially with this, I could go directly inside the light, especially if I'm working with the tube gels. So for those of you guys that are working with the tube gels, if you really focus on this, right, again, building the perimeter around the nail, and from the side profile, one of the things you're going to notice, right, when I showed you guys from the side, is like if this was the extension that I built out and I had built up around the perimeter, right, and then it's kind of flat, right, so this area is going to be right here, is going to be flat in the middle, which is going to be thin, and that is absolutely fine. If it's like that, chances of the customer feeling an intense thermal reaction are going to be low. Right, so that's, if you're always building in stages, right, if you're building it thin here, coat number one, you can go into the light without getting tremendous amounts of heat, and then you can layer up, right? So what I'm trying to do is get to the point where I'm filling in this area right here, right, so that my customer doesn't feel that intense thermal reaction. Now again, what you can also do is, if someone is super sensitive, is you can keep the hands outside the light before going in. That's freezing the product before actually curing. Okay, now, you're going to notice, right? Again, I have great buildup around the sides. Where do I want to fill this? I need to make sure that I fill this where the apex is, where the upper arch is going to be. So at this point, I'm literally, if you look at the side profile, I need to really start about right here and work down to about right here. I have enough build up here, I have enough build up around here, I have enough build up around the sides. I need to get center. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this out, right? And then again, right, just get a nice healthy amount and then use the nozzle just to kind of manipulate the product as I'm squeezing down towards the front of the nail, keeping contact with the surface, almost like I'm floating all the way through, right? And then I release. So what you're going to see at this point, again, is an excessive amount kind of built out. Then I could take my brush, I could keep contact with the surface, right? It's not gonna go everywhere because again, I'm filling it into the center of that area, but you can see from the side profile that what I'm able to actually do is create enough buildup, right? So that I have room to file this into shape. Okay, so again, I don't want it running down the sides. I just want to be able to keep that buildup. You can continue to add product if you choose, right? So I just add a little bit more, and then I have a little bit of, again, keeping contact with the tip of my brush all the way through. And since I already established a foundation layer, which was the perimeter of the nail, I don't even have to put it on low heat mode anymore. I could go directly inside the light, and I could set this for a minimum of 60 seconds inside the light. Boom. Right? So again, when you're building, and again with pots, if you understand the dynamic, again, right? If this is the natural nail, I want to be able to build a free edge, right? Whether it's going to be pointed or it's going to be square, it doesn't matter. Then the next layer, again, once you've established the base and the free edge, when you're building the first layer, especially the foundation layer, what I like to do is float it on, but my focus is trying to get perimeter, right? So a nice buildup around the perimeter all the way down, even the free edge kind of filled out, and it's going to leave space. And then what you're going to do is, right, as the nail, right, you're going to notice the nail is built up like this, and again like this, and then what you're trying to do is connect the top and then fill in this area like I did here, right? So you're going to notice now that I have enough product all the way through. It's a matter of me being able to file this into shape so that I have the right, again, structure. Let me show you guys how to do that. So what I'm going to do, once it's done, I need to make sure that I take swipe and I remove the dispersion layer from the whole entire surface. So I'm literally going to not only wipe the surface, I'm going to come underneath. And then since I am working with gel, for those of you guys that took advantage of it, I'm gonna go ahead and get my dust extractor. I'm gonna go ahead and put this underneath. And then let's go ahead and begin filing this into perfection. So again, keeping contact on the sides. Right, let me make sure that this doesn't pop off. Right. So I'm literally gonna be focusing on trying to get my edges as straight as I possibly can. Right, as straight as I possibly can. Right, so you're looking at this from this profile, and I'm trying to get my edges as straight as I possibly can. You're going to see that straight ledge that I built up on the sides. From underneath, again, I need to bring that lower arch even with the growth channel. I'm going to start at the lowest point here, lowest point. I'm never going to put it in the corner and try to file up. What I want to be able to do is get it at the lowest point here, parallel to the finger, and then as I file up and I have contact, as I bring the hand file up, you're going to notice this, like literally I'm going to be able to get it dead straight. Look at that, dead straight from the end of the growth channel all the way to the tip. So a great example is turning the hand to the side so you can see if it's that low, then I need to start at this point and file up and continue to file up until my hand file reaches the end of that growth channel so that you have a perfect extension all the way through. This is going to work wonders when you guys are not just filing your hard gels, but also your acrylics as well. And since we have those new tips that are available, the kit that we launched this weekend, you guys are going to be able to see how you're going to be able to prepare all the products so that you guys have exceptional shaping. All right, so I'm going to put on, again, a safety bit. I put a little bit of space between here and the bit. I don't need that much. I'm just going to a little bit less. That way the nose piece doesn't hit the nail. I'm going to run my electric file around 3,000 RPMs. And what we want to be able to do, again, if you're looking at this from the side profile, I need to take down a little bit of bulk right here. And then as I start working back, you can see how that shape is starting to come in. Then I can really start to reduce a little bit of thickness right there. So you're going to be able to see how I'm going to be able to create great upper arch. And then what I want to be able to do again is when I'm looking down the barrel of the nail, I want to try to get it as even as I can from side to side. So as I'm filing in one direction here, right, one direction towards myself, what I'll be doing is trying to shape my C curve as evenly as I possibly can from side to side. And then using the I formation roadmap, again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to work around the perimeter nice and gentle. I don't want to over file it and take away too much bulk. You have to be super careful when you're filing your gel nails that you don't do that. And then I'm going to end up coming through the rest of the nail, right, to try to get that into balance, right? This is going to set me up so that when I'm using my hand file, right, at this point, can literally cruise around the perimeter of the nail. I'm going to be able to get that nice and tight, nice and flush all the way around. And then I'm going to be able to come down through this side, boom, to try to get that nice and tight. Contact all the way through. So for those of you guys that are looking to really improve your shaping, get a hold of Ray Bracamontes here at Home Office, and he'll get you guys dialed in for up and coming shaping classes. All right, now, once we actually have that shaped out quite well, then what I could do is take a buffer. I'm trying to find something real fast. Don't really have it. Let me just get this out of the way. But you can see, just bring this up, right? Last but not least, what we want to be able to do is look at client profile, right? So here, down here. So with all the nails that we do, last but not least, what you want is you want to be able to run your hand file down client profile so that you can get your C curve, right? This part of your barrel, right? You want to try to get that as even as you can from side to side, looking down the barrel of the nail. But you can see how I can sculpt out a beautiful almond shape, right? I just wipe off the dust, right? This is going to be a great platform for me to do gel art on the surface, paint. Again, whatever you're decorating, it's going to start off like this and it can end up either way, right? But it's being able to establish the right foundation with the right structure all the way through so you have great form, right? And again, you want to try to make your hard gels look exactly like they are acrylics, or you want to be able to make your hard gels look just like they are full press on tips, right? So want to be able to share that with you guys so you understand the dynamics. All I would do now is take protein bond over the surface, and I am ready to either top coat it or paint the surface, which why would I use protein bond? So if there's a little bit of space around the perimeter of the nail, if you're using protein bond around the edges, it's going to eliminate either chipping, right? And if there is a little bit of space around the cuticle area, you're going to eliminate any possibility of it lifting off that back end, which is absolutely necessary to lock that down. Let me go ahead and get finish gel, right? You can see just with the concealer pink in a tube, we're going to be able to create some really beautiful nude looking nails using hard gel. All right. Glad that worked out for those of you guys that are learning to do gels. Haven't done gel in a while, wanted to be able to express the right techniques so that you guys are successful with it. I'll be using the glitters, all the glitters, 117 new glitters. I'll be mixing them with acrylics. I'll be mixing them with hard gels. I'll be using them in the full the new tip applications, tons of education to support your growth. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up anytime on Instagram. I'm always here to help. Appreciate you guys, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Peace.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel